Late October in North County, San Diego. If you're here, this is what you'll see. Isn't that marvelous? Look at that. Beautiful blue sky, painted with yellow in front of it and green. What a contrast. Look at those beautiful colors right there. Looks like the Oakland A's are playing or something. All right, so what are we looking at today, kids? Anybody want to guess? That is Spathodea campanulata. That is the African tulip tree, but not just any old African tulip tree. This is the yellow form. I think it's really cool. The yellow stands out more in the foliage than does the regular orange. Orange is spectacular too. But I'm at some nursery along the side of the road and I'm stalking their trees. And look at how pretty that is. October, people. Can you imagine having one of those in front of your house in October? Anyway, this is a tree that was kind of introduced to California in a bigger way back in the 1980s. It really wasn't around much until then. I know the guy who sort of popularized this plant. It was probably here, just no one was using it. Look at the flower on that thing. Look at that flower cluster. That's like a foot wide of flowers right there. Imagine just taking that whole thing off, bringing it into the living room right before you have your friends over. They're going to be like, what the heck are those things? What are those things? Yeah, and you'll be able to tell them. Spathodea campanulata. Campanulata. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, it's native to Africa. That's why they call it the African tulip tree. It's actually native to a bunch of countries in Africa. And I do know that it'll grow here fine, but it does like really wet tropical conditions because this thing, I've seen this thing. Oh, look, it's already invasive over here. Let's talk about the invasiveness of this plant. It's on the top 200 invasive plants of the world. Maybe it's the top 200 invasive trees of the world. Once it gets out of Africa, it goes hog wild. And here it's dry enough where that doesn't generally happen very much. But in the tropics, it goes hog wild. And in Hawaii, I've noticed a bunch of trees in these canyons that have taken over the whole entire canyon. There's a thorn inside my flip-flop. Ow! What? Ow! Ow! I'm not sure how I'll deal with that. I'll deal with that later. Finish the video first. Okay, and yeah, they're taking over these canyons in Hawaii. It's really sad because you don't want the exotic plants to take over the native plants. That's no good. You can see here, they planted two of them. One over there, gorgeous, and one here, gorgeous. Above all the beautiful, gorgeous plumeria. It's a story for another day. And look, I guarantee you they didn't want this one here, but it sprouted on its own. And so even here, if you give them moist conditions, theoretically, it might be invasive. It's not gonna be that invasive because maybe like in creeks. I haven't heard of it being invasive here. I think it's still safe to use it. So this tree is a gorgeous, gorgeous thing, obviously. And what I would say is I'm up in Northern California, convincing people to use certain plants. I haven't used this in Northern California. In fact, I don't think I've ever planted one of these myself in my gardens, becoming the palm guy that I am now. But I certainly would under the right circumstances. And I'm willing to bet that this tree in some good microclimates in the South Bay would do totally fine. And the red one as well, the red beautiful flame version. And so keep that in mind. I could probably bring up some box specimens if you guys want. You're gonna want to start out big if you go Northern California. Southern California, I can plant these things for you if you like with that crane truck right there, no problema. I can reach out with a 36-inch box about 35 feet from that truck and plant it anywhere. You have the hole ready, I'll bring the tree, I'll put it in the ground, and we'll make a deal. And you'll hand me a fistful of dollars. And for a few more dollars, I'll bring you some plumeria to go with it. But yeah, keep this plant in mind. It's a wonderful thing. It gets, 25 feet tall, 25 feet wide in 15 years or so. but it just makes a beautiful fall blooming specimen. The orange one's going to bloom on the same period. I've seen them bloom kind of off and on all year, but obviously it has a very heavy fall bloom. Not a lot of things bloom in fall. Charisia, Ceiba insignis, the floss silk tree, that blooms in fall. It's beautiful. And of course this one does too. So if you want to get cheered up in fall, right before Thanksgiving, give me a call and we'll set you up with one of these trees, maybe a floss silk tree, a couple of palm trees, maybe some plumeria, whatever you want. I'm your semi-nomadic botanical mercenary at your service.